Hi, everyone. Let's see. Can you see me okay? I mean, I think you can because I can see myself. We'll get started in about 8 minutes. Hi, Joel. Let people log in and get settled in, ready for Ayurveda, starting at 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. If you haven't met Shiloh, my dog is here today. Shiloh, would you like to make a feature? Can you come here? Come here. Come here. This is my dog, Shiloh. He's ready to talk about Ayurveda with us. He's sleepy right now, but he's a very good boy. Good boy. You can go back to sleep. Yeah. Okay, we have a few people on right now. We'll get started at 2. Grab a journal, a pen if you'd like to take some notes or write down questions. And if you're logged in, say hello. Where are you from? Type into the chat function. What are you excited to learn about today? Or what were your takeaways from last week if you were with me? Instructor from Clarendon in Virginia. Hi, Danielle. Welcome. Hello, Olivia from Orange County. Welcome. Okay, we're going to get started in about 5 minutes, but if you're just signing in, say hello, where you're from, what you are excited to talk about today, if anything. Maybe a takeaway from last week if you were here. Or if you have any questions from last week. So good to see you again, Joel. Yes, I know. Isn't it good to see everybody on these chats? Hi, Robin. Welcome back. I'm just giving time for people to log in, friends, as you're joining. We'll get started in a few minutes here. Again, if you'd like to grab a journal or a pen, something to write with. Hello from Hawaii. Yes, Sierra. Oh my gosh, thank you for taking that C2 with me. Glad you thought it was the bomb. Hello, friends who are just joining. We'll get started in a few minutes on the hour. If you're just joining, say hello, where you're from. Feel free to type in what you're excited to learn about or what you took away from last week if you're with us. Hello, Samantha from Chicago. Hello, Jackie. Yes, representation. Looking forward to this so very much as my husband and I moved into temporary housing for this month until our house is ready. Wow, that's awesome. I'm glad that you are getting housed, Danielle, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you. We'll get started in 1 minute here. Again, I just wanted to honor the time so I don't drop my phone. Hi, Neil. Welcome back. Having some technical difficulties, so as soon as I get this sorted out, we'll get started. Okay. Sorry, friends. My tripod fell over. Let's try this. Okay. Is that all right, friends? Can you see me okay? Maybe I need to boost myself up a little higher. Okay. Hi, everyone. I hope this is okay. You can see me. It's not necessarily about seeing me so much, but more about hearing me. Science of life, not silence of life. Science of live stream. That is true. Okay. Welcome back, or welcome if it's your first time. My name is Emily, and I work on the yoga team at CorePower Yoga. And one of my favorite things to study is Ayurveda, which is our sister science. I have undergone a 500-hour advanced yoga training in Ayurveda, and I'm currently over halfway done of my Ayurvedic Health Counselor program. So that's a little bit about where I gain my knowledge from, but I am excited to share with you. So last week we talked a little bit about what we call dinacharya or daily regimen and the time of the times of day, vata, pitta, and kapha times of day, and how to prioritize your routine for your day. And I wanted to start off by just, for people who joined us last week, Joel is here in the chat function, able to type in, and I'll do my best to read as many chats that come in as I can. But I wanted to find out, what is the thing that you committed to last week to try on in your daily routine? And did it make an impact by adjusting the time of day or the routine that you were committing to for the week? So let's just do, and I'll, as you're typing that in, I'll go over and remind everyone the times of day. So Vata time of day, where ether and air elements are the qualities of those elements are the most heightened, are from 2 a.m. to 6 p.m., 2 a.m. to 6 a.m., and 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. So the qualities of light, dry, mobile, subtle, these types of layers of the atmosphere are more heightened, as well as more heightened within ourselves. So we pick routines to help balance that or to lean into that. And then pitta time of day is Kapha time of day, our earth and water elements are more heightened between um, 10 a.m. to 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. So that's when the qualities of water and earth, the dense, slow, heavy, cool, damp, those types of qualities are more enhanced in nature, in the time of day, in our moods, and the qualities within ourself. So Chelsea is committed to going to bed earlier and limiting screen time before bed. She couldn't say that that was successful, but that happened all the days, but the effort was there. Oh, it was successful. Yeah, and so keep typing in, and then pitta time of day is from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and 10 p.m. to 2 p.m. So those are the qualities of fire and water, the time of transformation, and when our digestive fire is the most strong, and those qualities of fire and water are like sharp, hot, penetrating, spreading, unctuous, those types of things. So type in, if you haven't yet, again, if you're just joining, one of the things you committed to last week for the daily routine and the time of day. Thank you, Joel. And what was the after effect? And Chelsea, I thank you for saying like it wasn't as successful every day, because Ayurveda is really the path to moderation. It's the 80-20 rule. So, and some weeks it looks like, 51-49%. So you're doing more of the good things that are good for us than less of. And some weeks it is 80-20, and some weeks it's 100%. You're like on track. So it's not going to be the same week by week. I drank hot water during Vata time of day. Sierra, yes. Eating, and Sierra, how did that make you feel? Eating lunch earlier, 1 p.m. felt less sleepier. Yeah, after. I've been working on mindful eating as I'm used to eating on the run. Thank you for trying these things on. And I want to know how it's impacting you, and just picking up, committing to the one thing, just becoming more mindful of those types of qualities in the day and how they impact us will also get us to know more. And Danielle and Sierra, how did it make you feel to drink hot water more consistently? Whether it was Vata time of day, having warm lemon water when I woke up made me feel energized and sped up my digestion. Yes, Daniela. So when you add lemon to water, which I'm actually going to talk about a little bit more today, it is a sour taste, and it does a really great job, especially first thing in the morning. I didn't do what I would committed to, but I happened to start tongue scraping every day. I'm not sure how it makes me feel other than accomplished. Yes. Um, oh, thanks, Joel. Yes, went to bed. It felt comforting and filling. Went to bed, but you couldn't fall asleep, so we watched Star Wars. That's great. Um, the sour taste of the lemon, or if you use lime, lime's a little more bitter than lemon, which is actually a great thing to implement in this particular season, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. It activates your liver and the bile of your liver, so it really gets the organs pumping and flowing and going. Thank you for your shares, everyone. So, what I wanted to move into today is talk about Rutacharya, which is seasonal regimen. So according to Ayurveda, um, Ayurveda prescribes guidelines in regard to your diet, your behavior, certain medicines, for seasonal routines. So things, as we know, yoga teaches us that everything changes, nothing stays the same, and our seasons also change. Um, they are designed to help create balance when things can become out of balance, especially due to seasonal changes. Um, and each new season can bring a different source of challenges to keep us balanced. And so, um, obviously, your seasons will look different based on the geography where you live. Um, and some of you will have only 2 seasons. Ayurveda has 3 seasons. Whereas in the States, we have like our 4 seasons. So if you live in a location where it's more damp and cool, um, you might not have much of a winter routine, um, because the 3 seasons that are discussed in Ayurveda are a little bit more prevalent in the Northeast regions of the country, of the states, just based on the climate. But I know that most people have some sort of a spring. And so the doshas can, the doshas vata, pitta, kapha can get out of whack when seasons change. And right now we are starting to move into, or we are in kapha season, which is late winter and spring. And so, um, before I break down the actual season, I'm going to talk a little bit just about kapha in general and the how to identify like kapha body type, as well as um, balanced states and imbalanced states, and highlight again specifically the time of day of kapha. So I want to read something that is from the Ashtanga Hridaya, which is one of the texts, one of the authors of the text that we study. And it says, Kapha confers stability, lubrication, compactness or firmness of the joints, forbearance, which is capacity withstand or withhold emotions, strain, etc., and such others. The Kapha is nourishing. It is ascribed to the skeletal and anabolic system, and it's comprised of earth and water elements, and it governs body structure. So its sticky quality of earth and water provides this binding and allows our cells to stick together and create structure. Kapha moistens the skin, it lubricates the joints, it promotes immunity and liquidity in the body. And so kapha sometimes gets a bad rap because it's, considered the heavy, like most stable dosha, but it is the most stable. And when we think about, we all have kapha in us, otherwise we wouldn't be manifested here in these meat suits. The individual manifestation of kapha, so more kapha type, would be strong, large frames, steady appetite with a slow digestion and metabolism, big eyes, thick hair, smooth and oily hair and skin. And when they're imbalanced, they are sweet and compassionate with a deep, steady faith and love. They are the most loyal of the doshas. They can withstand, like the text was saying, withstand and hold, be a container of emotion. And because it is the most, it promotes immunity in our bodies, they tend to live longer because they are the strongest. An imbalanced state of kapha is excess weight, feelings of heaviness or sluggishness, excess mucus, um, edema, lack of motivation, depression, attachment, greed, or lethargy. And kapha lives in the upper third of our body. So think primarily the upper third. Obviously, it's all over our entire body, but primarily the upper third. And so that's why in the springtime we see um, all of when kapha is in spring and is in bloom, the allergies come out and kapha produces more, and we get more mucus, we get sneezing, liquid, runny nose. Um, and so it's interesting when we look at the upper respiratory gets impacted when there's too much kapha, either seasonally or in the body. And the time of day, so again, the hours are from 6 to 10 a.m. and 6 to 10 p.m. So in the mornings, the body is rested and is often the strongest. And what I talked about last week, this is a really great time to do your most physical, vigorous exercise or work, mental endurance, emotional endurance. And in the evening, this is when we permit the like natural heaviness and the dull qualities of kapha so that we can start to sedate ourselves and get ready to go to sleep by 10, so that when pitta kicks back in, we're really allowing pitta to do the work of transformation during sleep. The liver and all those organs of transformation of pitta, they kick in and do the work that they need to do. So right now we're in the season of kapha. It's spring season, and we can see this in the muddiness, the wetness, the heavy days, as our earth transitions from the hard winter to the soft spring. It's very quite opposite. The only kind of similarity of vata and spring would be the coolness of of the nature. And time of life of kapha. So there's also different times of life that we live in as a person. The time of life is from conception to about 30 is our kapha time of life. And this is the growing and developing and learning years. And this is where we experience our greatest physical growth. In addition, we begin to acquire tools that help us navigate life emotionally and spiritually. Um, Discernment becomes really important in the kapha years because we understand that our choices have consequences, especially around our health. And so, um, these are considered the brahmacharya years, according to Ayurveda. So now that we kind of have a big glance at looking at kapha as a whole of the dosha, let's take a look at what seasonal effect of kapha can do. So there's an accumulation of kapha. Due to the cool, damp nature, it naturally begins to enhance and accumulate during winter. Because in winter, we're eating more heavy, dense foods. Um, and this creates the heaviness quality of kapha. And so it can, uh, during this transition from winter to spring, there can be weight gain, colds, congestion, seasonal allergies, especially if you do live in a climate that is colder and you really focus on those kapha type of foods to help balance your system. And so an aggravation of kapha, depending on the location, as the earth warms, in the spring, the melting of the snow, or if you live like I live in the Bay Area, it gets really rainy and wet and damp. The mud season begins, and this is paralleled by the extra production of our earth and water qualities in our bodies. So that would be an aggravation of kapha because of the season. And so, how do we find balance for kapha? Let's talk about that because that's really the most important thing is how to find balance. So, For the foods, we want to actually look at what are, and again, if you live in an area where there's only two seasons, your kapha season may not be as predominant as somewhere in the East Coast where the snow is melting and then the mud and it might just already be, I know, like I'm looking outside, it's full in bloom right now. So based on where you are, but you want to look at what the earth is providing naturally in terms of food. Where you live will be the most important way to balance your own kapha within your body. If you notice that you have an accumulation of kapha, so the heavy, the dense, the dampness, and that can either be physically in your upper third register of your body, the excess mucus and phlegm and allergies. It could also be the heaviness, the isolation, the loneliness, the dullness of the mind, the fogginess. So those types of things can happen, and that's where you notice an accumulation or aggravation of kapha in your own body. So the way we alleviate it is by um, we have 6 tastes, and the tastes that we want to highlight more on our plate, according to Ayurveda, are the tastes of bitter, astringent, and pungent tastes. These tastes are dry, they're light, and they're hot. And then as we move into the summer, the hot qualities of summer begin to pacify the wet, heavy, and cool qualities of kapha as well. So let's talk a little bit about what bitter, astringent, and pungent tastes mean. So bitter is comprised of air and earth. And so you might be like, well, how is that balancing for kapha? Because it has earth. There's more air quality to it. It's the lightness of the bitter taste actually balances out the cool dampness of the earth. And so it's actually quite nice. It helps to dry everything up in kapha. Um, and astringent, thank you, Joel. Astringent is made up of air and think of it as like there's a fire, so it dries out your mouth. Instead of sour, it's the puckering, the tartness that think of like a cranberry. When you eat a cranberry, it's the tartness that pulls the liquid out of your mouth. And then pungent is fire and ether. And pungent is things that kind of make your nose water a little bit in a good way, like black pepper, ginger. So let's talk about some of those foods. We have for bitter, think bitter greens. We have kale, dandelion greens. What are some things that you are seeing in your local farmers market of bitter? I'm trying to think of things that maybe you wouldn't necessarily know as a bitter. Turmeric is bitter. Um, and then astringent things are more like the cranberry. Um, we have legumes are astringent, so beans, all types of beans are astringent. They're very drying. And for pungent things like ginger, um, black pepper, chilies. What are some things you're maybe seeing in your local farmers markets this time of year? Type into the chat function. Radishes, yes. Radishes are pungent. Also daikon. Daikon is a radish, but you can cook it as well. Get greens. Asparagus. Some more mildly bitter vegetables are great, like zucchini, avocado, believe it or not, asparagus. Getting to the farmer's market, yeah. Arugula, yes, Gabby. It's kind of peppery. Baby greens. Yeah. Can't go outside. I know. I know. Um, even using your imagination of the things you know that maybe are this time of year. So even if you can't go to the store, um, I mean, I know you can get groceries. Garlic, it falls under pungent. Um, it it balances uh kapha, and some of the things like garlic and ginger you would think could be aggravating for pitta. Ginger is tridoshic. It actually balances pitta as well. So if you're someone who gets like acid reflux and the pungent taste might be too much for you, um, you can think of the things like celery. Celery is slightly pungent. Even celery seeds, like cooking with celery seeds. These are also things you can start to add into your digestive spices, celery seeds, cumin. Megan, so um, the reason Ayurveda loves garlic, that's not true. There are some rhubarb would fall under bitter, or rhubarb would fall under um, astringent. Uh, Ayurveda loves garlic. There are some yogis who have written in certain cookbooks or, from the yogic perspective, that garlic is not good because it's a nightshade, and that all yogis shouldn't be eating nightshades. But garlic is a wonderful bolster for immunity, for yielding off infection, prevention. So Ayurveda believes that everything can be a medicine or a poison, depending on the person. There's even medicinal wines that they have. So nothing's out of the book for all matter is yeah, me too, I love garlic. All matter is considered, can either be a poison or a medicine, and how you ingest it. And also it depends on how you cook it and prepare it. With garlic, it's great to chop it and actually let it sit for like 5 to 10 minutes so that the volatile oils can release, and that releases some of the sulfuric smell that you maybe smell. So the poison can get released, and then you can cook with it, and it's much more um, digestible in that way. The other thing, this is a good time. So as you're eating your foods, the foods that you have access to, obviously, um, think, kapha, because it is this season, the digestion is not necessarily as strong. Um, it is good to lightly cook your food. You don't necessarily have to cook so heavy or a lot, but you can lightly steam. Think of like the lighter things of cooking food. So steaming, light saute. These will help with digestion of some of these foods, and incorporating more digestive spices that have those bitter, astringent, and pungent tastes. So some of those spices you can start to cook with are ajwain, which is celery seed, um, black pepper, cumin is more of a pungent taste. Um, Also, coriander is great. It's warming. Cinnamon. When you think of the things that are warming for kapha, uh, and believe it or not, if you want to use salt, you don't need to eliminate salt, but Himalayan salt is actually the pink salt. It's one of the best salts for kapha because it will help pull and leach the liquid, the extra moisture out of kapha without aggravating or elevating pitta. And because sea salt can actually create retention of water, but the Himalayan salt does the opposite. It helps to pull out the water, the extra water in the body. Other things that you can consider to incorporate in your daily routine for kapha balancing, um, dry brushing. I know I talked about this last week, but on your skin, you take a dry brush and you want to start from your feet all the way up towards your heart because it helps boost circulation in the body. If you're more of a vata body type, um, you would only want to do this maybe once a week. For pitta body types, 1 to 2 times a week. And then for kapha, you could probably do it more regularly, um, 3 to 5 times a week. And after you do the dry brushing, so you want to do it prior to the shower, just like when you oil the skin, you would dry brush up on the long bones and then circle on the joints and towards the heart. And that boosts circulation towards the heart. It helps increase circulation of the body, because kapha can be very grounded. And then you would shower because it actually helps to rinse off the dead skin and the as we sleep, there's an accumulation of kapha. So it's really important to clean your senses and really practice sense care. Should it be chocolate, peanut butter, buttercream, pumpkin? Hold on, wait. This is a great question. Oh, how do I view the chat? Oh, it came in. Chat viewing options. Live chat. Can you repeat? Okay. Todd's going to bake a cake. Should it be chocolate, peanut butter, buttercream, pumpkin cream cheese? Chocolate peanut butter is probably better than the cream cheese. I'm just going to say that. The cheese is going to be too heavy. The frequency for the different doshas. Yes. Vata body types, once a week. More pitta body types, 2 times a week. And kapha can tolerate the most, so 3 to 5 times a week. And then the last thing that I'll end with is a really fun pranayama breath that we can all try together. It's called the Bumblebee breath. And this is when you're feeling kapha in the mind. So you'll take your thumbs and cover your ears, and I'll do it first and then you can try it and then we'll end. So you basically are humming while you're breathing out. So I would breathe in and you're going to block off your senses. Your fingers go over your ears, your eyes, and underneath your nose. You breathe in and then you go So let's try it together. I know it feels weird. My dog just like hopped up. He got really excited. So plug your ears, bring your fingers over your eyes, underneath your nose as you block your nostrils. Take a breath in, and on your out, hum. Release your hands from your senses. Take a breath. Notice how you feel. Type into the chat function what you feel. Come here. After doing our Bumblebee breath. I feel, this is Shiloh, by the way. He got very excited when we did the Bumblebee breath. You're welcome, Joel. More energized. Yeah. First thing in the morning, friends, or kapha time of day. Vibrations. Super energizing. Yeah. Energy and cool. Yeah. I love this too. Reset. Some sinus relief. So not only will it help your sinuses, but it'll help the mental fog and the heaviness of kapha in the brain. So whether it's kapha time of day or you wake up and feeling all that, I will now bow to all of you and thank you again for joining. We'll be back next week talking a little bit more, but I'd love for you to try on some of these fun things that we talked about and check in next week to see how it's balancing out your kapha during kapha season. Have a beautiful rest of your day. I'll leave the chat function open for another minute to type in top takeaway from today's lecture, something you want to try on, or after effects of your breath. You're so welcome. Thank you. Different salts blew my mind too. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Robin. Bumblebee breathing. It's a game changer. Namaste, Brooke. Bumblebee. Anything can be medicine or poison. Going to try. No screens during meals. Yes. Thank you. Seasonally tailor your spices and bumblebee breath in the morning. You're so welcome, Angie. Yay, Neil. Namaste, Khalil. Oh, Kahil. Sorry, I keep saying Khalil. Kahil. Yes. Thank you, Christine. Me too. Have a beautiful rest of your Wednesday, friends. Keep your immunity up, your bumblebee breath going. I'll see you next week.